Today I'm gonna show you something different. I'm in a small cave, as you can see, and this cave used to be a resistance hideout during World War II, during the later parts of the war. It's a beautiful location, really hidden away, and I actually missed the entrance when I passed it, even if I knew roughly where it was. Today I got my radio with me and I'm gonna try out some emergency communications. Easter is coming up, and in Norway we have a Winlink exercise, and I'm gonna show you two of the forms that we use in these exercises, mainly the check-in and check-out form in Winlink. And just simply try it out, see how it works inside of a cave. Of course, the antenna is not inside the cave. The antenna is outside. That's an off-center fed dipole for 60 meters, which I got from November 9 Sierra Alpha Bravo. So before I get started, I'm gonna eat a bit. I got Norwegian Army field rations. I thought that was quite suitable for a resistance hideout, and gonna get some heat in my body before I start activating. So see you after dinner. Before I start with the radio stuff, I'd like to talk a bit about the history of this place. If you'd like to skip this, feel free to use the chapter markers below. The cave I'm visiting today was occupied during the last 2 years of the war by a part of the Norwegian independent company called Vestige IV. These were Norwegian volunteers that were trained by the Special Operations Executive in Britain, and their mission was to carry out British-led operations, sabotage and espionage, as well as communicating between Britain and the home front operators in Norway. Groups like these carried out operations all over Norway, with a total of 530 men and women serving throughout the war. In a previous video I showed you a different hideout about an hour's drive from here. I'll drop a link below if you want to see that later. Mysinghålå, meaning the cave at Mysing, is the biggest of two caves in this area that was used during the war, the smaller one being dropped since it got too wet. At its peak, up to 14 saboteurs and refugees hid out here, both men and women, mostly supplied by local farmers. One of the tasks they carried out was radio communications with Britain. This was dangerous as the Germans were actively hunting for radio transmissions. LA6NCA has a really good video on how the German tracking gear works, and I highly recommend checking that out. Although the cave is very remote, it's also well placed for operations against the nearby city of Egersund. As you can see from the video, the terrain here is harsh and unforgiving, and it provides a lot of natural shelter and hiding places. So that's enough about the history. Let's go in and rig up the radio gear. There's my Segu X6100 over here. Really simple digital radio. And then I got Microsoft Surface Go 3 tablet. Really simple little thing. I don't have the keyboard for it, and it turns out that the Bluetooth keyboard that I brought with me, that interferes with the COM ports for the radio. So I'm gonna use the touch typing function for it. If you're not familiar with Winlink, then it's a really simple communications program. It's ancient, or looks like it, but it still works great and it's still maintained. It allows you to send emails over a lot of protocols. Today I'm going to use VARA HF, which is really common when it comes to modern Winlink, and just send a message with it. So, simple enough. I go in here and I press a new message. And you can go in here, select the template, and in here you can have added custom templates. But today I'm going to go in here and do mapping GIS forms. And I'm gonna do a Winlink Check-in.text, this one, and just select that one. What happens then is that it opens a new window in a browser, and it allows you to check in to whatever you want. And today I'm gonna reset this form because it has some old information in it. And let's see what happens. Date-time, just click in there and it brings up the current date and time. Send to. Today I'm going to send to myself, just for a test here. And you just use your call sign, but you could also send to a normal email address if you wanted that. Next field here is from, and yeah, that's pretty obvious. But in some cases you are sending on behalf of somebody else. For example, police in a rescue operation or something else like that. Station contact name, just gonna enter my name in here, and then initial operators, that's also gonna be me in this case. Then session, exercise or real event. Exercise is the normal one. Service is amateur for me, and band is gonna be HF. Session is gonna be VARA HF here. But you can also use other ones here, depending on which type of communications you have. Location. Today I'm gonna say that I'm in Mysinghålå, and that is the first problem with this form. Mysinghålå in the Norwegian has two special characters, and they really do not work. This is an ancient form, even if it's updated really frequently, and it doesn't support UTF-8 characters, meaning anything that's not in the English alphabet. So for me, I gotta replace the two O's with double A's, which is the common way of writing it. If it was an Ö, then it would be OE and so on. And then we're gonna input latitude and longitude. For me here, this is something I get out of something called Ham GPS, but you can get it in a lot of different ways. You can use different maps, you could even calculate it off a map if you needed to. In here, I'm gonna go and erase everything, and let's see here, I am at 58.25970, and my longitude here is gonna be 6.249525, and that will recalculate the MGRS grid. That is apparently not correct for Norway. It only works over in the United States. Another weird thing. And it also enters the grid square, which I could have told it as well. But when you use latitude and longitude, it automatically calculates them for you correctly. Comment here. Any kind of comment, for example, in hiding in a cave. Yep, that's about me. And then when I press submit here, it says, it asks me to enter a subject, Winlink check-in exercise LB4FH Mysinghålå, and then you click OK and you close the browser window. And then you see your email here has been updated with the subject you wanted and a lot of different information further down here, which is kind of interesting. So press post to Outbox, and then I have to open a session here. Just press open, and this window pops up, and this is the VARA session window, and since I'm using a tablet it pops up in full screen, but I like to have it like this, and I would like to have the small VARA window on the side here. This is actually the program for sending audio, and I'm not going to show you how to set it up. There are plenty of videos out there that helps you set this up correctly for your radio. Go into channel selection, and in here, let's see what I can have. It asks me to recalculate. I don't need that at the moment. And for me, I would like to go for a 60 meter because I have 60 meter rigged up. So I'm going to go with LA1 Juliet here, this one, and just press select channel. The radio will automatically switch over to the new center frequency. And you can see on the tablet here, the band scope has two red lines showing this is a 2.3 kilohertz wide session, which should be quite fast. This channel was busy. So now I'm switching over to Lima Alpha 9 Kilo, which is in Kristiansand. They have a really cool shack. It's in an old bunker, really fancy place. So let's see here. There's a bit of noise on this frequency, so that is also not good. And this is some of the fun things with Winlink. You never know. And if you operated this from home, it would probably be something you didn't even notice because it's very low in the noise floor. But I'm so far from people here. So LA3F, and let's see that one. This is much cleaner. And this is to the bottom of the Norwegian part of the 60 meter band, but it's well within. So now it's calling. No response. That is interesting. So I had a successful session here with LA1 Juliet earlier with 500 Hz wide one. Let's start that instead. And here I got a response immediately. And you can see this is running 500 hertz wide, so it's rather slow, but it gets through there, and I don't have a really big message to send. This is a rather close by station, so 60 meters should work really well. And I'm reading them on the meter here with preamp on 9 plus 10 decibels. So that's more than enough, and hopefully they're reading me quite well as well. At least I haven't had to resend very much here, which is usually a problem when you're sending data to a station that can't hear you very well. So that's it. There's not much more to it. Some exercises or operations you use different forms as well. For example, message forms or specialized check-in forms for one specific exercise. It's really simple to use, but it takes a bit of training to get it right. So I do recommend that you try this out. Try setting up your radio, see how it works, how your radio and computer works together. Try setting up a Winlink form, sending out a message, and so on. It can be quite fiddly, and it's very specific per radio how this works. But for me, here with the X6100, it's mostly plug and play, and it allows me to send messages on the go. I hope this was interesting. Thank you very much for watching. 7-3.